Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to your Monday night. It is me, the Redneck, JT, and we are back once again with Avenger Pretenders. Tonight's a big night, folks. Episode 5 of Echo. We're going to review that. We're also going to give our thoughts on the series as a whole. So do me a favor, grab your favorite adult beverage or whatever it is that you want to drink, something to munch on, sit back in your beanbag chair, kick up your legs, and relax and have some fun. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, I thank you, sir. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. As you haven't guessed by now, I am Sully, and that was JT, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Redneck. And he's not wrong. We are talking about Episode 5 of Echo, the final episode of this miniseries, which, behind the scenes, our silent third-party member of the Sully Show, Lady Death, also known as Nikaya, stated to me that she hopes that they do a second season.
It would be awesome if they did a second season.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, they didn't really leave it to where they could do a second season with Maya. You know, I mean, everything was kind of wrapped up with her in a pretty little bow there at the end of the show.
Yes.
And we'll discuss that a little later. But
if you think
I don't see how they could do that, but they could do something with Kingpin.
Yeah.
With Kingpin. So,
well, I mean, they could have her as well.
Right.
Western Echo is in the chat, finally live.
Yeah, and he says, all right, let's talk about this the finale.
Now, of course, everybody is entitled to their own opinions on the episode. We're going to do the full breakdown, just like we always do. This was the season finale of Echo, which I have thoughts on. I know JT has thoughts on. I'm sure there's things that probably could have been done differently. I'm sure there's things that could have been added that we would have loved to have seen. But we're going to get into it because this one is all about Maya.
The shortest episode. This was the shortest episode of the series.
Was it?
All the other ones were 42, 43, 45, and almost an hour for the opening episode. This one was only 37 minutes.
Okay, so about 10 minutes shorter than most.
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes shorter than the average.
On average. Western Echo says that I definitely have thoughts, but I owe a lot of money to your swear jar. Yeah, so this is all about Maya. We see flashbacks to Maya's past when she was a kid with her mom, and how, and I had mentioned it last episode about the slingshot, so obviously I was thinking about this week's episode too.
Right.
Oops.
She's a pretty damn good shot with that slingshot, though.
She was a good shot. And what she does is she shoots a woodpecker with the slingshot to start it all off. And she brings it to her mother and says that it just fell from the tree and she was trying to help it.
I found it. It fell.
And boy, did her mother see through that lie.
As soon as she uncovered it with the bandana, as soon as she uncovered it, she looked at it and she looked at Maya and says,
"No, she didn't.
This wasn't an accident."
Yeah. No, this was on purpose. On purpose. Yep. Well, this is where we finally see Taloa's powers being used. The power of healing. Because as Maya and Taloa are talking about this, she tells Maya that the belief of the Choctaw Nation, or the Choctaw people, were that woodpeppers, I caught myself on that one.
You made it 5 minutes, though.
Hey, you know what? At least I didn't do it during the intro.
Right.
Woodpeckers. Oh, please, please. I'm so going to use that in an outtake. Woodpeckers. Uh, woodpeckers. Woodpeckers. Were used to warn tribes about approaching enemies or other types of dangers that were out there. And she asks her mother if she was able to fix the woodpecker because she knows she has the powers, but she doesn't know to the extent. And it looked like Taloa was a little hesitant to use the powers at first, but because it was a woodpecker, she decided, yeah, we're gonna heal this and set it free.
And the significant thing with the woodpecker, and the reason that I think that she did show Maya her powers, or her abilities, would be another way to put it, is because to that group of Choctaws, the woodpecker was basically like a cow in India. It was sacred, and she explained in the exchange with her that, they used to train woodpeckers to go and basically do Morse code, the Indian version of Morse code, to other groups,
tapping on
to
trees.
send messages and stuff like that, to warn of enemies coming and that kind of thing, which I thought was really, really cool. For some reason, I'm really obsessed with how much they concentrated on the true story, of the Choctaw Nation and everything during this whole thing, not just this episode, but the entire series. They really concentrated on getting that stuff out, which I think is really, really cool.
And we've been mentioning that a lot during each episode of the background, the research that they've done was phenomenal.
Well, and even with the sign language, talking about the ancestors and those way back, and just the way that they did all the sign language and everything, just really, really brought it to the forefront. And you're seeing sides of an Indian nation that most people, probably, to include me,
I
probably don't know about.
I didn't know a damn thing about it.
Exactly.
Now, mind you,
I want to sit down and go do some research on the Choctaw, Indians.
Yeah, like
because it's interesting.
Know this, because not for nothing, but this is American history. Not just Native American or indigenous people.
No, you had it right the first time.
It's Native Americans, not indigenous people. Native Americans.
Yeah.
And their way of life before, many, many years before our ancestors took over the place and ransacked it.
Right.
And I will say that because that is true. White man
it is
ransack.
A proper description.
White man ransack. Prove me wrong. You can't. Historically, you can't. Okay? Right. I wasn't even... And listen, we're all tied to it, okay? Except for maybe Western Echo. Because his family roots are Europe, Russia, Ukraine, like that whole area. I never actually asked him. It was Ukraine, right? I'm pretty sure it was Ukraine.
But you got to remember, I'm so old that I was alive during this time.
True.
True.
Lady that says, my name is Indian, not indigenous people's name. Just saying. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's the other buttheads that make it all political and, it's offensive. Shut up. Move along. But Chula,
right?
Because we cut to Chula visiting Scully at his own pawn shop, where she was asking if he had kept the sewing machine that she had brought him years ago. A
couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah. And he did not have it in his heart because obviously he still has feelings for Chula and kept it, maintained it, make sure it still worked. You know it because as he put it, eventually you'd come back for it.
Well, I mean, that's the machine that she used to make all of the things that she's made over the years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's like with Kay. Kay kind of had to do the same thing way back.
Yes.
And she didn't want to, but she had no choice.
Yes.
And she hoped to get it back, but it was just too long before she was finally able to go and try, and it was gone.
Yes. To solidify things, Western Echo said, yes, Ukraine, the Puerto Rico of Eastern Europe. He can say that.
Nice. Yes, he can.
I can't say shit because I've never been there. But anyway, at the same time, once she gets the sewing machine and all of that good stuff, there's a lot of flirting between Scully and Chula. A lot of flirting.
Yeah, think.
Well, from Scully's side, not so much Chula's side.
They damn near could have had a quickie right there on the counter.
Well, he wanted to.
Well, yeah.
But, obviously Chula says, hey, thanks. Appreciate it. But I got to go back to work. So she does. She goes back to work for the post office because that's where she works. And while she's there, she drops a few envelopes, and lo and behold, who should just so happen to be at the post office? None other than Wilson Fisk himself. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but last week, I specifically said that the mob, doesn't matter what type of movie or TV show or book or novelization, comic book, whatever, the mob always goes after what? Anybody?
People that are special to whoever the victim is that they are preparing to take out.
Also known as family members.
Mm-hmm.
Western Echo, when you're a mass murderer, but still need to mail a postcard. Not wrong.
Missed you in Tamaha.
Sorry. Well, he helps her pick up the envelopes, and the two talk about the upcoming powwow that's being held just a mere, day away?
Mm-hmm.
Day away? Because I'm pretty sure this was still... Actually, I think it was the same day, right? It was later that afternoon.
I think it was the same day.
Yeah, it was later that afternoon. Western Echo, excuse me, do you have any Elvis stamps? Listen, he's not dead. He just went home.
Right.
Just saying. Well,
he slipped on a banana peel and broke his hip.
Yes. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But he notices the necklace that's on Chula, and how it was ASL, it was American Sign Language, and he starts chatting about learning sign language, and that's when Fisk realizes that Chula is Maya's grandmother.
Yeah. See, now I have a question.
Yes.
About this scene.
Yes.
It's one of two things. I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. It's one of two things to me.
Okay.
Either it was he absolutely knew who she was and just wanted to get close to her to size her up.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a case of we think this is her? Because, I mean, it's been 20 years, Yeah. We think this is her, but we're not sure. So this was his way of confirming that it was her.
I'm going to go with the confirming only because any good mobster, head of a family, crime boss, you name it, knows his people.
Right. And we want to make sure that they're taking out the right person.
Yeah.
Or they're grabbing the right person or, whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. And that was his confirmation, because as soon as he saw the American Sign Language, or in this case, as Western Echo put it, age, sex, location.
This was before then.
Yeah, I think he's still trapped in the Yahoo, AOL, and Prodigy chat rooms. But that's okay, too. Yeah, I aged myself, I know. But that was more the confirmation that he needed to know that, yes, this is Maya's grandmother. And that's when you see that look in his face of,
Especially when she said for her granddaughter.
Yeah.
Because he said his niece.
Yes.
And then she said for my granddaughter, or for my daughter who passed away, but I still use it for my granddaughter, Maya.
Right.
And he was like,
that was like, light bulb. And Western Echo confirmed with CompuServe, sir. Just another one on the list.
Or Roadrunner, you know.
Yep.
I mean.
And Laserman 21, your buddy, he wants to know when we're going to talk about Dune Part 2. One, Dune is not a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so not during this show. And two, we have to see it first. It just came out.
Right.
We haven't seen it.
Yeah, he went and saw it this weekend.
Yeah, so did Echo. Echo saw it this weekend,
too. Both of you shut up.
And he doesn't want to, Echo doesn't want to ruin it for me. So we're going to get back to the subject at hand, because that's what we do. Well, at the same exact time, Maya's already leaving the town. She's on her way out, and she decides to stop at a Roxxon gas station. One thing I have to say with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they are spot on for details, including Roxxon, because Roxxon is a big company in the comics and has been mentioned in I would say a good number of the MCU movies, or at least you've seen signs for Roxxon, you've seen trucks with Roxxon on it. In one, I think it was Loki season 1 and 2, we see Roxxon all over the place. So
there was a Roxxon in the den where all of the different Lokis.
Yep, there was a Roxxon sign, but there was also that the Roxxon like Walmart type thing that they were in with one of the natural
just for confirmation, she is here.
Yep,
and she's been here for about the last 10 minutes.
Yep, so. Jumping up all over the place. So she pulls into a gas station and she decides, you know what, that's it. I'm going to take out that contact translator and throw it out because she doesn't need it. And she's also in the process of losing the tail that's trying to follow her.
Yeah.
The good thing is, at this time, they're setting up for the powwow. Now, clearly, the one thing that is consistent with many of the Marvel TV shows and movies is there's some type of party involved in the final scenes.
Right.
Some type of gathering. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier had a gathering. They also had, a lot of the terrorists doing whatever they needed to do. You had the... I don't think I would actually consider it a gathering, but you had Loki and Sylvie with the He Who Shall Not Be Named. You had lots of different things going on there. Lots of different things.
Yeah.
Hawkeye had a nice little Christmas party going on. It's technically, Hawkeye would be a Christmas show. Western Echo says the big boss fight must always happen on a big stage. I agree.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, it's not a. Otherwise, it's not a big fight.
Look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze. Dance club.
Do I have to?
Dance. Hey, don't you dare mock that. Shame on you.
I'm not. I'm just saying. It's not.
Shame on you. Well, at the time, Biscuits texts Lopez, and he's like, "Where are you? Why are you ignoring me?" Western Echo, wow, you did that reference? That's just one of many that I can do. One of many. But Viscus is like, listen, where are you? What's going on here? And she's ignoring him completely. Right. She sits down, she eats dinner or some type of meal, if you want to call it dinner.
Right. Well, and the reason that he sent her those messages when she was at the diner was because Chula hadn't shown up and Bonnie hadn't shown up at the powwow.
But you're missing one big thing.
Well, yeah, because he's out there, guiding trucks or parking.
Yes.
And the guy that, Mr. Got Blown Up, as I call him, pulls up in the old, the old-fashioned RV again. Yeah. Attention to detail, pulls up in the old-style RV and is like, I don't care what you say. I'm going to go park up here.
Yeah. But here's the thing. While he's texting her, you're missing the most important thing.
Oh, between the first and second message when she just so happens to glance out the window.
Yep.
And sees what of all things but a woodpepper.
Knew you were going to do that.
Sitting on a sign.
Yeah, bastard. But yeah, she sees the woodpecker, and that's when she goes, what? And decides,
right, and then then she got the second message saying, have you seen them? They're not here.
Right.
What's going on?
What's going on? So she decides that's it and heads back to the house, heads back home. Yep.
And she was flying. You see how fast she was flying when she pulled into town?
Oh, she hit that bike and just went boom down the road.
She was moving
down the road. Well, she gets to town and she enters the house, and that's where she sees a manifestation.
Well, let's be specific. She goes into Chula's house.
Yes. Well, yeah, Chula's current house, not the house that she grew up in.
Yeah, not the one that she grew up in, but the one that she lives in now.
She gets to Chula's house, which is technically, the other house.
Right.
But in this case, she's just in town. So a little closer to work, that type of thing.
Right.
But she meets a manifestation of her mother, Taloa. And
did that stop her cold?
Oh, yeah. That was like, brick wall.
I mean, that froze her in her. Well, I mean, it would me too. If it didn't stop somebody cold in their tracks. When they open a door and see their deceased mother standing in front of them. If that doesn't stop you cold in your tracks, then I don't know what the hell's wrong with you, but something's wrong.
I see dead people.
I see dead people.
Bruce Willis, where?
The problem is they talk to me too.
They talk to me too. Well, this is where her and her mother, now mind you, her mother's been dead, so the manifestation is either all in her head or she's using the family powers to be there. And
this scene is the most powerful scene.
Yes.
In this entire series.
Absolutely.
The most powerful.
And that makes the point of a mother reconnecting with her daughter and her mother telling her not to run away. You need to fight. And she also mentions that her ancestors will be by her side.
Mm-hmm. And she confirms.
Yes.
That it goes all the way back to Chafa.
Yes. All the way back. Which is amazing. Because not only is it bringing everything full circle, but it's giving Maya that, I don't want to say like pep in the step because that's just not the right term, but more the
more confidence.
Yes. Thank you.
It makes her more confident that she knows that she has them there with her.
Yes. And hi, Alex. Got to say hi. Alex just got home. What's up, dude? What's up? But it's one of those things where not only the confidence, but she also moves aside to show Maya the suit that Chula made for her mother, because this technically was for her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And that
but adapted it to.
Yep. Adapted it for Maya so she could wear it.
And I gotta say, the Indians have always been known for their intricacy in the things that they do, especially in their sewing skills and in their leather work.
Yes.
And you look at the leather work on those 2 shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just simply amazing.
Absolutely.
Simply amazing.
Gotta love customs.
And, yeah. Nakia says that it gave her the kick in the ass that she needed.
Yes.
One thing I found really, really interesting about this conversation, though, was before she addressed what she needs to do, she addressed what Maya has been going through. Because one of the first things she says is, you've been hurting for a long time.
Very long time. I mean, she's really been hurting since her mother was killed.
Yeah, 20 plus years. But I love how, you know, her mother did the cross finger healing thing over her heart.
Yep.
Says, now you need to let the pain go. She says, I don't know how. And Mama tells her, you know. And it was really neat to me to see, and this is true in real life, you have to heal yourself before you can really help anybody else.
Agreed.
You know, and they addressed that fact in that scene, which I found was really, really cool, because she showed her, okay, first we got to fix you now. And she goes through and she names off the different skills.
Yeah.
From each of the past ancestors, you know, tactics, ferocity, you know, there was another one that she mentioned. I can't think of what it was, but she named off all these different things. And she's like, all of this is in you. Use it. Remember what you have and use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm kind of sitting there going, interesting. How is this going to play out? You know, but the thing was, the ones that she mentioned were vital to what Maya is going to go and face.
Yes. In
order to protect her family. You know, which I found to be very interesting and very well timed as far as this exchange and everything that Maya learns at this point.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to open up a lot more doorways, hopefully, to certain
a big old can of
stories or a specific new show coming out soon. We'll see. Anything's possible, folks. You never know. You never
Especially not
know.
in the MCU.
But while we're talking about her and her powers, she starts to really understand now that, yes, you know, from what her mother told her, you know, use your powers, you know, your ancestors are here. They're going to help you. Walk away. Let it go. Just forget about it now. It's time to move on and grow and progress.
All right.
No more holding yourself back. And during that time, we start to see the beginning of the powwow. Yay! We love a good powwow. Everybody loves a good powwow. But as JT has mentioned, what was the gentleman's? Oh yes, your favorite character, the blown up guy, also known as Zane.
Yes.
The blown up guy. I love that you refer to him as that. He's the blown up guy.
The guy that got blown up in episode 2.
Well, I mean, you know, I think it was worse in this episode, but
Right.
Zane, with the rest of the Black Knife Cartel, yes, they all have names. Yes, they all are a part of Marvel. After all, Maya was in charge of the Tracksuit Mafia. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got names. They got names. But while we're at it, they decide that they're going to blend in and patrol and not be noticed so much and be a guest of the powwow.
Well, they were security. They were either security or volunteers.
They were they weren't really security, but they were volunteers.
They were mostly volunteers because they had the orange, shirts on with volunteer on it.
They basically took the vests and whatnot and blended in.
Right.
However, what they didn't know was that Maya was sneaking around and arrives very quietly, I might add. I mean, after all, a deaf amputee with amazing hand-to-hand combat skills, as well as the power of her people, I wouldn't want to mess with to begin with.
Right.
But she finds Chula and Bonnie. Yay!
Well, Chula and Bonnie are shown to her.
Yeah, well, yes.
By Kingpin and his lynchmen.
Yeah. Well, her Uncle Henry is also calling Biscuits to find out what these suspicious men are doing at the powwow and who they are. And, oh, by the way, they will kill you. They are very dangerous people, after all. They are the Black Knife Cartel. Not that he knows the name. Not that it means anything to Biscuits, but, yeah, bad people. Bad people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Maya walks into the barn and she sees Fisk. Which is then when he goes, Chula and Bonnie, come on down. You're the next contestant on this wonderful fight we're about to have. And oh, by the way, I will kill them. I've said it every single episode that he has been in. Vincent D'Onofrio is phenomenal as the Kingpin, and I cannot see anybody else playing him. I can't.
Can't argue with it.
I mean, you can't. just like, and don't get me wrong, eventually it's going to happen. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark Iron Man. He is. Eventually, yes, we're going to see another person playing him because Robert Downey Jr. is getting too old to play the part now. He's walked away from it. It is what it is. But I cannot see anybody else playing the Kingpin. Not even me, and I've already got the bald head. Could I? Sure. But not as good as Vincent D'Onofrio. No way. No way.
He's, every now and then you find that
unicorn.
That one, special piece of the puzzle. Yeah.
The unicorn.
And he is definitely the unicorn for Kingpin.
Just like I cannot see anybody else playing Loki besides Tom Hiddleston. I can't. He made Loki who Loki is.
Mm-hmm.
And did a damn fine job of that.
Yep.
Same rules apply here. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, Maya decides, okay, obviously you're holding them as hostage. And Weston Echo named one movie Vincent D'Onofrio was not good in. I'll wait after the show.
Right.
After the show. I don't have any bad movies that he is in, but you know, it is what it is.
Maybe one as a kid or something, you know, or something like that. But you know,
I'd have to go back and see, but we'll talk about that off air because that's it. We'll talk about that in Discord. Great topic. Ooh, that's a good one. Anyway, so Maya pleads with Fisk. Let them know. Let them go. Let them go. You don't need them. I'm here. I'm the one you want. I brought this down upon myself. Let them go.
Well, and it was interesting because she did the one thing that she probably shouldn't have done, which was to confirm for him that how important her family was to her now.
Yes.
That she has finally realized everything.
Yes.
You know, when he finally tells her that, yes, I killed your father.
Yes.
You know, so that right there would have been like, okay, you're fucking screwed.
Which by
I'm
the
done
way,
with you, you know.
By the way, is also confirmed from Hawkeye when Clint Barton said to her, no, Wilson Fisk had your father killed.
Yep.
Not me.
So it was very interesting conversation because, you know, you had the conversation from his side where, you know, I offered you everything and you betrayed me. And now I know how important these people are and how much it's going to hurt you when I kill them.
Absolutely.
And Maya's like, you know what? You abandoned me.
You dummy.
You know, and she turned the whole thing on him, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that very often, especially not with, you know, a mob kingpin.
No. Want to say hi to Michael. What's up, Michael? Watching on Facebook. Hello, sir. Good to see you.
Good to have you with us, Michael. But it was a very interesting conversation between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
A very short conversation, a very pointed conversation.
Yes.
But a very vital conversation. Remember in episode 3, I talked about the confrontations.
Yes. And how...
And I said there was... Go ahead.
And how meaningful they were.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I said, you know, Maya and Chala still they have to have their confrontation.
Yep.
Which they did, thanks to Henry, when she had the vision that looked like she was having a seizure.
Yep.
There was kind of a confrontation between Kingpin and Chala there at the post office.
Well, I don't know.
That's
if I
what I say,
would call
kind of a confrontation.
I think it's more of a aha moment than a confrontation. You know,
I'll go with that. I'll go with that. And then, you know, this was the big one. This was the big one that I talked about. And yes, they had the one when he came to the house. Mm-hmm. You know, and they had Sunday dinner and all of that. And, you know, the one at the hotel room in the same episode.
Yeah.
Where he showed her the hammer that he carried with him that he had used to kill his father.
Yes.
To set him free.
Yes.
But they didn't have the blow up that usually happens in the conversation. Mama or Chala and Maya had it, or Chafa, sorry. And no, I was right, Chala.
Chula.
They had it.
Chula.
When she stood up and Chula, thank you. When she stood up there towards the end of the conversation and kind of yelled back at her. Mm-hmm. You know, so they had their blow up, but Maya and Kingpin haven't had that yet.
No. But it's
until
coming.
Now.
But it's coming.
Well, it's happening. You know, it's happening right now in this scene because he is literally yelling at her.
Oh,
And she, in the only way that a deaf person can, is yelling back at him.
Yep.
So you finally had, what do we call it? The blow up.
Well, at least
Finally had the blow up conversation.
At least it was the match that lit the fuse.
Oh, the fuse was already lit. This was the wind that made the fuse burn faster.
Now it's just burning faster because at this point in time, while they're surrounded by the Black Knife Cartel, and I mean literally surrounded.
Yep.
Chula and Bonnie are there.
Side.
And
Yep.
Maya.
Bonnie on one side, Chula over there.
And it's the trifecta. And she calls upon them and says, I need your help. She asked her family for help.
It was so freaking cool.
Yeah.
To see, because the guy punched her. And she's down on a knee.
That was great.
and she, she does her thing and she takes the cape off
and reveals,
throws it on the ground and stands up. And it was so cool when she stood up because you saw all of her ancestors standing there by her.
Right, her right in the middle.
To include her mother.
Yes, her mother, her grandmother, Bonnie, and everybody else before that. And a lot of people will say that was kind of like a cop-out type of thing, but no. When it comes to the story and the backstory of Maya and her people, it fit perfectly. It did. It fit perfectly.
It walked that line perfectly.
Because it was bringing all of them together to show that, yes, they were with her, because that's what they believe. The indigenous people, if I said it correctly, even though I will continue to always say Native American, they believe that their ancestors are with them all of the time.
Yeah, Nakai says it gave her goosebumps.
And in bad.
Yeah.
And what happened? What happened?
Nakai says that it gave her goosebumps.
And for her, she's got that background.
Mm-hmm.
She's got that Native American background in her family, in her blood. So, yes, I mean, don't get me wrong, it didn't give me goosebumps.
Right. I was still like, oh, shit, look at that,
Right.
How many people is that back there? I wanted to pause it and count, But, how many people were there?
But it came full circle because if you notice how many people they were in the barn with them, surrounding them, it almost evened it out. At this time, Biscuits decides, well, there's people out here fighting too.
Let's take care of these guys in these two big white vans.
Yeah, let's take these guys out. And decides
that was funny as hell.
And mind you, this was kind of a shock to begin with because, in the previous couple of episodes, he already destroyed Chula's truck. But he was also in the process of repairing that truck as well. Into a monster truck.
I mean, that is the biggest contrast that you could come up with.
He put monster truck wheels on it. I thought it was great.
Biscuits driving a monster truck.
Yeah. Well,
that's like military intelligence. They just don't go.
Yeah, no, they don't.
But it definitely worked here because I loved it because he told Henry, he says, I got something even better.
I got a surprise.
And then hung up on him. And I was like, okay, what's he gonna do? Because I don't think that he put tires on Chula's truck. I think this was a monster truck that he had.
No, it was Chula's truck. It was the postal truck.
I'll have to go look at it, but I don't think so.
It was the postal truck. I'm telling you.
We'll see. I'll go back and look at it.
I'm going to look it up right now.
But while he's doing that, here comes Biscuits barreling around the corner and takes this monster truck and just you know, the vans were parked perfectly to where one tire went on each van right in the middle of it, crushed the lids, the tops down on top of the guys and trapped them in the truck and everything. It was freaking amazing.
Yep, it is. Even Lady Death has said it is GMA's truck. And Echo's making memes.
That's not enough time because you have to put special suspension under there.
That's what
and everything else.
But that was what the truck yard was for, the junkyard. He brought it there and they fixed it. Remember? If you can find the parts, you can fix it. It's yours. Because otherwise he couldn't pay for the repairs. So he did it himself. Love the meme, by the way. Woody Woodpecker. Bastard. Western Echo's the silent partner of the show as well sometimes. But while that's all happening, Uncle Henry, good old Uncle Henry, takes out Zane right before his attack on the powwow. And that's when Fisk is now attempting to fight Maya on his own. And this is after Maya and the other two basically kicked the shit out of everybody in the barn. And I mean, everybody in the barn. It's a woodpecker. Aha, there it is. I see it now. Nice. Don't worry, I'll mention it on tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
Don't lose that picture,
if you don't,
my friend.
I will.
Don't lose that picture. So, while the scuffle is happening and she's fighting Wilson Fisk on her own, she decides to use her powers on him to make him relive his childhood trauma of killing his father. And what happens is they get transported to like this old house. In his room, it was his bedroom, right? If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was his bedroom when he was a kid.
Yes.
And you can hear his father abusing his mother. Like you can hear it through the walls, you know, screaming, whatever. You hear all of that.
And they show where more than likely he's slamming her into the wall because the whole wall shakes and some drywall falls and
you can see that Fisk is getting like, what's going on? Why am I here? Why am I seeing this? Why am I reliving this? You know, Western Echo, basically they did the Crow ending. Yeah, very similar to the Crow. And if you haven't seen the Crow, go watch it. Not City of Angels or Salvation or the sci-fi version that came out. The Crow. Just the Crow. She basically grabbed his head, used the powers to get into his brain, and it's kind of him living in the past, but in his own head. And she tells him, let go of the pain. Just let go. You don't have to do this anymore. Just let go. Move on. Unfortunately, he cannot let go and grabs the hammer anyway. And Maya says, give me the hammer.
She stops him. She's like, just
give me the hammer.
Calm down.
Give me the hammer. You know, just like, give me the bat.
Right.
Give me the bat. I'm not going to hurt you. I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in. Going to bash them right the fuck in.
Right. I sent you a link in Discord.
All righty. Let's see here. Copy link.
I still, even with this, I still don't think that it is her truck.
Yeah, no, that's her truck.
that is like her truck, but I still don't think it's hers.
It's her truck.
Because how is she going to deliver mail in that?
She's not. She's not. But yes, that's her truck. I would show it, but we're going to get dinged, and I don't want to get dinged.
Why would we get dinged?
Because it's copyrighted material.
No, screw that. They put it out on the internet. It's not copyright anymore.
That's where it is, on the internet.
But anyway, I'll stick the link in the chat room.
Yes, please. But she says to him, "Give me the hammer." And at the same time, as Western Echo just said, brain manipulation is dangerous and unethical, by the way. I, for one, am offended. Stop being offended for other people that are not offended.
Exactly.
Just saying. Anyway, she finally lets go of his head, ending the ritual with whatever they were doing. And Fisk tells his guys to retreat.
And he's screaming at her, "What did you do to me?"
Oh my God, he was so pissed.
He was freaking the hell out.
And the way Vincent D'Onofrio just did that deep voice of yelling, "What did you do to me?" Like you could see the vein popping out of his neck.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, by the way. Again.
Yes, it was.
A great kingpin of crime, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
Completely distraught and pissed off at her for what she did to him.
Yep.
Lady Death, hot under the collar. Not wrong.
Just a little bit.
Not wrong. They all retreat. Police arrive. The town is safe. She saved her town. Yay. And this time...
Saved her people.
Yes, her people.
That's the big thing. Her people.
And this time, with the town being safe and all, she drives up to the house and joins her family for dinner. Something that she hasn't done in decades. Decades.
Literally.
Meanwhile, in a private jet on a tarmac, waiting to lift off and go back to New York.
In a mid-credit scene.
Yes, this is probably the one and only mid-credit scene.
Yeah, you said in episode 1 you had a post-credit scene, but I didn't.
Right.
And then 2, 3, and 4 had nothing.
Because they included it into
the
show instead. They altered it. They did. They altered it. They put it before the credits. And meanwhile, I'm like, no, I had it after.
I actually got the skip credits option
on this
and
one?
I was like, oh, mid-credit scene. Click.
So clearly the show is over at this point. Lady Death, I know you had no mid-credit scene too, but this one is going to tie into another series for us for Avenger Pretenders.
I was wondering.
Because while Fisk is on his plane getting ready to take off, they see a news report of the upcoming political race for mayor in New York City.
No front runner.
No front runner.
But the wording of it was very specific, and it's why it caught his attention. The wording that they used, that the broadcasters used,
which
was very, very specific, very, very well chosen for the setup of this scene.
Yes. Which was, come on.
Well, they were talking about, we need a fighter, we need a bare knuckle brawler was one of the terms that they used. Somebody who's not afraid to take on the establishment, which he's been doing, his entire life.
Long time.
And those little kind of key phrases and stuff, and each time they used one, he leaned forward just a little bit more.
Yes. taking very, very big interest
Yep.
in the mayoral race, which is where Daredevil Reborn will take place. Which means our next Avenger Pretenders will most likely be Daredevil Reborn. Yay! But that is a story for another day. Now, with that being said, we have some things that we need to discuss. First and foremost, we need to give this week's rating for the episode. You went first last time, right? So it's my turn to go first?
Yes.
I was doing the odd episodes this time.
Correct.
For me, I am giving this episode a 4.
Just a 4?
Just a 4. The reason why.
Okay.
Couple of reasons. Reason number 1. I felt that the episode was rushed. Rushed for the fact that there really wasn't that big of a conflict at the final fight between Maya and the Kingpin. She made him look like a rag doll. The Kingpin of crime is like a brick wall. Okay? He can take punches and kicks and not be moved. He's gone toe-to-toe with Daredevil. He's gone toe-to-toe with Spider-Man. He's even gone toe-to-toe with the Punisher. And when he went toe-to-toe with Spider-Man, he kicked the living shit out of him with 2 punches.
Yeah. Didn't he fight Hawkeye also? Or am I imagining that?
Well, not in the Hawkeye series, but he's gone up against the Avengers.
Okay.
He has. But didn't really make him very threatening in the fight. Now, granted, the using of the powers on his head, like Western Echo said, was the Crow ending. Yes, absolutely.
Well, and don't forget, she hit him in the chest first.
Yeah.
When they charged each other, she did the cross fingers and hit him right in the chest, and that's what knocked him to his knees.
Right.
And then she backed off, and then she came forward again and did the head.
Yes. Which is why I say they made him look like a little bitch.
Well, I mean, freaking Mike Tyson would look like a little bitch if you were to hit him with supernatural forces square in the chest, which is what happened here. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But my devil's advocate to that statement is
very true.
He's getting hit by supernatural powers right square in his chest.
Which is why I say, if he can go up against Spider-Man toe-to-toe and kick the living shit out of Spider-Man, who has superhuman strength, speed, agility, all that good shit.
Superhuman. Keyword, superhuman.
She has powers too.
Superhuman powers.
Western Echo says
you see the difference I'm trying to point out.
I do. Western Echo says, "Do not badmouth Iron Mike."
I didn't. I'm just saying, we hit him right in the chest and the heart and the lungs,
right?
With a blast of supernatural power, it's going to drop you to your knees too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I just felt there could have been more there, like the more of a struggle.
I got you.
Because the Kingpin is a brawler. He's a brute.
Yeah. Well, look at the way he charged her.
Exactly, but that's the thing.
Yeah. He charged her like a wild boar and, trapped in a corner.
He's also smarter than that. That's why I feel like they made him look like a little bitch in this. In this episode.
Right.
Like there could have been more to it.
Right. And I think a lot of the reasoning behind go ahead. I'll explain it when I do mine.
The other thing is, and I'm glad they did it. Wasn't even the ending. That was, I'm glad they did it because that's going to lead into Daredevil Reborn, which is perfectly fine. I personally think that the fight at the powwow obviously wasn't that big of a fight.
Right.
The monster truck was more for comedic purposes. I get it. I think there could have been more between Uncle Henry and Zane because, you know, that's his niece. And, oh, by the way, Kingpin had, you know, all of them kill her father. So, yeah. And granted, Ronan was a part of that. So, shit happened. I mean, they basically brought Henry in to just be the uncle, and that was it. There was no real character development with Henry at all. Biscuits had more character development than anybody else, to be honest. He went from a whiny little bitch, you know, I don't want to get in trouble, to here I am driving a monster truck.
Well, at that point, it was too late to play the timid guy.
Yeah. So I'm giving this episode a 4. I wanted to see a little bit more action, a little bit more detail in the fights, and
right.
Again, I felt that it was rushed. So
right.
Obviously they're gonna cut some stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
I do. I get
it. I got you.
But that's why I'm giving it a 4.
Okay. Nakaya says I give it a 4.75 for this episode. And she also says that Biscuits grew some biscuits.
There it is. There it is.
Now I understand where you're coming from, and like I said at the beginning of the show, this was the shortest episode of the entire series.
Yes.
All the other ones were 42, 43, 40, 47, an hour and 15 minutes for the first episode. And this one was only 37. So I agree with you on the fact that it could have been longer. They could have done more, and the easiest place to do it would have to have a little bit more in the final fight scene.
Yes.
Okay. My thoughts on, you feeling like they made Kingpin look like a little bitch. One, because of what she did to him, he was overpowered with rage.
Yes.
Overpowered with rage. So like I said, he's going to be a wild boar caught in a corner, and he's going to come out nuts. And the move that Maya made on him was actually kind of a combination of a kung fu move and a Krav Maga move.
Yeah.
Because she got under and inside of his arms and caught him right in the chest. Like I said, with supernatural powers, not superhuman, supernatural, which is what brought him to his knees. And he basically kind of turned into a blubbering idiot after the thing on the head,
At least he wasn't drooling on the floor.
Well, I said almost, kind of like. I think if she would have stayed on his forehead for another minute or two, he probably would have been.
Truth.
But even at the end, even at the end of the last show of this series, they were still doing character development, which I thought was really cool because you had the final character development with Maya.
Yes.
When she had the conversation with her mother. The conversation with her mother, like I said, the best scene of the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it, in my opinion.
Nice.
I didn't feel like it was rushed, but I felt like it could have been longer. If that makes any sense. They just kind of, especially the last 15 minutes, they compressed that a little bit too much. I think they could have done more, like you said, with the fight scene, and the fight, especially the fight between Maya and Fisk.
Or even with that, even if they did Like, instead of, hey, just give me the hammer, why not showing them fighting in his mind? Like, he's trying to fight her off from doing whatever she's doing to his brain, you know,
Right.
and show something like that. Show the two of them going through a wall.
And they did show the conflict a little bit between him and her.
Yeah, but
when
not,
they were back in his bedroom. But yeah, I agree that they could have developed that whole thing more. What would another 10 minutes have been?
Yeah,
Would have put it right in the box of how long your other episodes were.
exactly.
This is a series finale. There's nothing planned for this afterwards. So if you're gonna end it right.
Right.
So I do feel like they fell short there. But otherwise, I loved the episode. I loved the scene between Mr. I got blown up guy and Henry, where Henry winked at him because he's like, "Hey, wait, what?" And Henry winks at him and picks him off. Funny as hell. And then they got fireworks.
Yeah,
which was
fireworks.
really cool.
I mean, yeah.
Well, but the guy on the microphone said, "Hey, wow, fireworks." Overall, I'm at a 4.8.
Okay.
For this episode. And I'm with you where I'm a little disappointed in the final fight scene, but the conversation between Maya and her mother.
Oh, that was
really, really, really pushed this episode up for me.
That was, pulling at the feels right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it really, even for me as a viewer, it really brought things together. Just like it did for Maya, it tied that whole little thing up with her ancestors and everything else in a perfect little bow. Especially when they tied it into the outfit that Maya was wearing in the final confrontation.
Yes.
And everything. So, like I said, I give it a 4.8. Nakia did say that she also felt that it was a bit shortened or rushed. Not much of a fight between them, but I still loved everything that in the ending.
Okay. All right.
So,
I'm surprised Western Echo hasn't chimed in yet.
Right, I am too. He's probably still typing. We'll have to scroll up to get to the beginning of this paragraph that he's writing.
Either that or we'll have to censor out what he writes.
Which I do most of the time anyway. Kay gave this episode a blazing 5.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I like it. All right.
And she did enjoy the series as well.
It was a good series. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, overall, the entire series, I will actually give the entire Western Echo. You don't want to hear my score. Yes, we do. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, and we want to hear the scores. So yes,
he's giving it a -10.
-10. That'd be funny. Overall,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give the series a 4. Had great episodes. It did. It had great episodes. Obviously, if you average out whatever we've already rated it on, it would come out to about a 4, maybe a 4.5, but 4 overall, a 4.
Okay.
I think I don't want to say they missed a lot because they really didn't. It was only 5 episodes. There's not, you can't expand much on 5 episodes.
Yeah. They glossed over a lot.
They did. But I do like, and this is what the driving force of the episodes were, I loved that they did their research on the Choctaw Nation. And they did.
Well, they had the Choctaw Nation right there with them.
Yeah. They did the series, they did their research on it, which was amazing. I love that they kept everything to, as accurate to that nation as possible, which was amazing. Right. They did their research. Western Echo says, agree on 4 for the series overall. The finale gets barely a 3, more like a 2.5, and it's too long to explain all the reasons.
We'd be here for another hour.
So here's what I would say. If it's too long to explain all the reasons, get rid of all the things that you know already piss you off and just go for the entertainment portion of it.
Because we pretty much know all the things that already
we know, we know exactly what you're gonna say. But just go for the entertainment purposes of it. You know,
right.
I go for the comic to the screen comparison. You know, JT goes in flying blind because that's what he does. You know, he doesn't.
What I do.
You don't have that history of the comics like myself or even Western Echo do, because I know.
And I have come up with some pretty wild observations from the outside that have even made you go, hey, wait a minute.
Absolutely, you have. Absolutely. And it's a good way for you to also play devil's advocate for what we do on this show. Because when I bring up the opinion and the comparisons between the comics and the films or the TV shows, you take that extra step of going, yeah, but wait a minute here.
What about this?
Right. And that's what we like, you know, because it's not really a debate. It's an observation and things to get you talking about said episode, you know?
And I think this is the farthest apart that you and I have been on any series that we've watched to this point. You and I are usually within quarter of a point.
Yeah, give or take.
Most of the time. I'm actually going with 4 3/4 for this series overall, for the overall score.
All right.
Biggest disappointment being the fight scene at the end, like we talked about. They could have done a little bit more character development with Henry or with Bond. I would have liked to have seen more character development with Bonnie.
Yes.
Because Bonnie played, granted, it was a secondary role, but it was a very important secondary role in the show. I would have liked, like you said, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more character development with Henry, but most of the questions with Henry were answered in episode 2 when Mr. Asshole that did the skates pulled all his crap. You know, and that kind of thing. But I really enjoyed the Native American feel.
Yes.
In this entire series.
Yes.
All the things that we learned about, you know, the Choctaw people, what they believed, what their history was, you know, and they didn't go into a lot of detail, but like we've talked about many times, they went way back in the past. You know, they went all the way back to Chaffa.
Yep.
You know, and I questioned, and I told you this when we reviewed episode 1, I questioned seriously the beginning of the show.
You did.
With Chaffa, because I'm like, what does this have to do with anything?
And then it was
revealed. As the show went on, it answered that question, which was really cool, because any kind of question that kind of popped in my head as the show went along got answered as the show went along, which to me means is important.
Oh yeah, hands down.
But overall, I really enjoyed the entire episode or the entire series. I enjoyed the development and the change in Maya. And that was the biggest thing, because it wasn't one of these, I'm a bad guy, boom, I'm a good guy kind of thing.
Right.
She fought with herself.
Oh, yeah.
And she fought with herself a lot.
Yeah, she did.
Until she finally had the conversation with Chala. When she had the conversation with Grandma, and they had the confrontation, she got the information that she was missing to get her to that point. And then the conversation with her mother, which gave her even more information from her history and everything else. It finished her transformation, but it wasn't one of those, she's a different person kind of things.
Right.
Which is what I was dreading was going to happen. So, but that's where I'm at. So 4.75 for the series. It's, like I said, it's the furthest you and I have been apart on any series that since we've started doing this.
Hey, it works though.
Well, Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, I truly enjoyed it. And like we said at the beginning, I wish they could do a second season to it, but it's tied up too nicely with the way they ended it for Maya.
Yes.
They left it wide open for Kingpin.
But it's not going to be the last time we're going to see Maya.
No.
It's not.
No.
We know that she's most likely going to be in the Young Avengers. We know she's most likely going to be in the next Avengers movie. But they got to get to that point first. That point first. So, that, my friends, is the season finale of Echo. That's right. Which means it's the season finale of Avenger Pretenders. Which means we got to go right into our next show, which means 2 Ewoks in the Park will be live next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where the redneck himself and the geek will be talking about the Bad Batch. Now, when it comes to the Bad Batch, we're going to do a recap show first. Episode 4 gets released. Episode 4 was already released. Episode 5 is this Wednesday. But the good thing is, they're only 26 minutes long, so we can kind of do 2 at once. And then we can do, an episode here and there. But we'll be doing a recap show. That recap show will be what you need to watch in order to understand what is going on with the Bad Batch if you haven't been watching it already. Which means we'll point out the episode from the Clone Wars that you need to watch, as well as season 1 and 2 of the Bad Batch. Because this is the last and final season, and it's going to be absolutely amazing, because it's already amazing. And JT is catching up. He's been doing good. He's been doing good.
I don't want to look too idiotic,
He needs to have his background. Needs to have the background. But that will be happening next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Bad Batch recap show, where we'll be bringing you up to speed on the Bad Batch, where where Clone Force 99 has been and what they're doing now, and so on and so forth. So, with that being said, we will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time for the Sully Show, which Lady Death has already done all of the show prep for tomorrow.
Nice.
Yay.
Nice.
She even did the Dumbass of the Week, so you might want to check it out. She's been amazingly helping us. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I thank her every day that she helps us. So, for the redneck, there he is, JT. I'm the geek, Sully. Have a great night, everybody. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, and next week for the 2 Ewoks in the Park recap show of the Bad Batch. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.